Ohio State students celebrate the Chinese New Year.
And the weather warms up for the weekend.
All that and more up next on Buckeye News Now. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Rithika Shah.
And I'm Ariana Bernard. You're watching Buckeye News Now.
We're beginning this week's show the same way several Ohio State students began their year, the Chinese New Year, that is. On Monday, 12 East Asian interest organizations and the Asian Business Students Association held two separate celebration events on campus. Lantern TV reporter Gina Hopton was there for all the calligraphy, food, music, and dance.
February 19th marked the beginning of one of China's most important celebrations, the Chinese New Year. On Monday, the Asian Business Student Association and other Ohio State students gathered together at several events on campus to celebrate this important holiday.
Chinese New Year is really important. It's a 15-day celebration all over China, and we also celebrate here. But we cannot go home every year, so we miss our family a lot. But we can hang out with our friends and try to promote Chinese culture here.
Chinese New Year is a very, very important. It's a very big deal, like I said, in Chinese culture, and I'm glad that it's reached all the way here to Ohio State University, and that we're embracing this event, and we're trying to make sure everybody's aware about it. That just shows how globalized thinking Ohio State is, and I'm very happy that we're doing stuff like that.
Reporting for Lantern TV, I'm Gina Hopton.
Governor John Kasich gave his State of the State address on Tuesday night. Some of the problems Kasich looks to face are the state's aging workforce and tendency for young professionals to leave Ohio for states with lower income taxes. In his speech, Kasich also mentioned his 2016-2017 budget proposal aimed at making college more affordable for students. His plan includes a maximum 2% tuition increase in 2016, followed by a tuition freeze in 2017. Kasich's proposal also includes initiatives and funding to reduce student debt and expand scholarship opportunities. To read more on Kasich's plan, visit thelantern.com and click on campus. February in Columbus has been its fourth coldest in history with an average temperature of nearly 20 degrees. This winter has been brutally cold for many Ohio State students, and spring can't come soon enough.
John, will March begin with some sunshine for us, or will the snow keep the grass from greening up anytime soon?
Rithika and Ariana, unfortunately, February leaving with one more cold punch. High of only 13 degrees today, some flurries across campus, no real accumulation expected. We'll drop all the way down to -2 degrees to start out your Friday. Tomorrow, pretty similar, only getting up to 14 degrees. There will be a little bit more sunshine, but it will be deceptive. Wind chills all the way down to -12 degrees and dropping all the way down to a raw temperature of -7 by Saturday morning. Saturday warms up a little bit more, up to 23 degrees. Plenty of sunshine out there. Still well below normal. Average high this time of year about 45 degrees, dropping down to 11 as we start out your Sunday, and then Sunday we do warm up a little bit more, up into the 30s, high of 35 degrees. We're watching a system that's going to move through Sunday afternoon, starting out as snow and then changing over to rain at some point in the afternoon. Based on where that rain-snow line sets up, that'll determine how much snow we get accumulating. All in all, though, some warmth in the future, only dropping down to 26 degrees for your Sunday evening, and then by Monday morning, the first day of meteorological spring, March 1st, high of 33 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Looks like next week is going to be much warmer, all the way into the 40s. I'm meteorologist John Banghoff. Back to you guys in the studio.
Mumps and Ebola have stirred up conversation on campus this year, but the recent measles outbreak has not made its mark on Ohio State. According to the CDC, the measles outbreak began in California, and since the beginning of this year, there have been 154 cases reported in 17 states, but none so far in Ohio. Student Health Services is encouraging all Buckeyes to receive 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. These vaccines are 97% effective at preventing the measles. While a representative from Student Health Services was unable to immediately comment on camera, in an email to the Lantern, they said the spread of the measles can be minimized through good hygiene. Coming up, how 2 students took something temporary and made it permanent.
And Buckeye basketball prepares to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Stay with us.
After more than 40 years with the same logo, the Cleveland Browns have finally made some changes. On Tuesday, the NFL team unveiled their tweaks to their iconic logo. We'll hand it off to Lantern TV sports director Hayden Grove and the Lantern assistant sports editor James Grega for a breakdown of the new logo.
Thank you so much, Rithika and James. Obviously some huge news of the Browns making this logo change. Of course, I'm kidding, but I do want to gauge your thoughts on what we see up here. I mean, not too many changes going on.
Yeah, we don't see much, do we?
No.
I mean, when I first looked at it, my first thoughts were, what's the difference? Obviously, you see the font, the different tint in orange in the brown face mask, but the Browns' reasoning for the changes were kind of lame, in my opinion, and in my opinion, it's just another thing to distract the fans from the on-field product, which, as we know, the past 15 years has been kind of abysmal. And being from Cleveland, it's just sad to see what they're really resorting to try to keep the fans' interest. It shouldn't have to come to this, but it has.
Now, one of the things that remains the same is the orange helmet. Are you a proponent of keeping the orange helmet and keeping that logo the same?
I am, because I'm a traditionalist.
Okay.
I don't like to see too many changes, so I'm not opposed to what they did, but they made it seem like it was going to be this big thing, and they made it seem like it was going to be such a big deal. They changed on their Twitter. You saw the empty helmet. It was supposed to be this big deal. They were supposed to be making all these changes, but you look at it and it was just a lot of hype for nothing, and I think it's just another, almost like an empty promise to the fans out there.
Yeah, that was my problem with it. It wasn't so much that the changes are so bad. I mean, it's pretty much the same, but it's almost along the lines of, why would they make such a big deal out of this? But in any case, Brown's new logo, we'll see if the changes are any different with the team this upcoming season. Rithika, back to you.
After a couple of losses on the road, the Ohio State men's basketball team is returning to Columbus. The Buckeyes will suit up in their home uniforms for 3 of their last 4 regular season games before tournament play begins in just a couple weeks.
I knew in July, when the Big Ten schedule came out, I said, my God, coming out of Ann Arbor, if our heads are above water and we've got a decent mojo about us, we've got a shot. So like Coach Mata said, we obviously have a great opportunity with 3 out of the next 4 at home, or 3 out of the last 4 at home. We really got to lace them up and get after it.
Ohio State USG President Celia Wright recently sent a letter to Secretary of Education Arne Duncan in response to a recommendation passed down the Federal Office of Civil Rights. In the letter, Wright, along with 76 other student body presidents across the country, emphasized that college students should be allowed to remain part of campus conduct hearings related to sexual violence and assault.
Well, this recommendation on behalf of students follows a national movement, as you said, about It's on Us and understanding how we as members of a community can create a culture that is more appropriate to prevent sexual assault. I've learned of many schools where hearings like this were alleged to be botched, at Columbia or the University of Virginia, where someone claimed they went into a hearing, they were treated disrespectfully, they were told that what happened to them wasn't rape, even if it seemed clear that it was, and there was no accountability mechanism in place. So when we hear about this growing media attention on the issue of sexual assault, it was able to make us aware of an issue that we could potentially improve with our advocacy, and really this idea that students try to help their peers, whether they're advocating or whether they're stepping in at a party, is a concept that people are becoming increasingly comfortable with, and I'm happy to see that happen.
Imagine creating robots, 3D designs, or virtual reality software in the span of just 48 hours. That's what members of programming enthusiast clubs on campus do when they travel to hackathons across the country. This weekend, members of Buckeye Hackers will take on a similar challenge at the University of Illinois.
Normally what they teach in the curriculum of a university or a high school, or really anywhere, it's very low-level, basic-level programming. You're learning the structure of what you're going to build on in the future. When you go to a hackathon, you're learning about the most modern techniques to write a piece of software. You're demonstrating that you can go in and in a set time period incrementally develop a project and then push it out to the world to see.
Ever wish you could have laughed at your friend's Snapchat story for just a few more seconds before it disappeared off your screen? Well, 2 Ohio State students set out on a year-long project to do just that. Michelle Cousold and her housemate Janelle Bouchard took more than 350 screenshots of their friends' snaps and curated them into an exhibition for their friends called the Snapchat Collaborative. The girls said the gallery was meant to be a reflection of how technology has changed the way art forms like photography are accessible to the average person.
That's all we have for you this week on Buckeye News Now.
Remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.